The 7-time World Championship Michael Schumacher will forever remain a treasure in Formula 1, despite being inactive on the grid since his ghastly accident in 2013. Since the accident, there has been barely any information about his health because his family intends to protect his privacy. However, recently, his son Mick Schumacher made a statement that gave us a glimpse into the health condition of the Formula 1 legend. It was heartbreaking. What did the Junior Schumacher reveal? And is there any chance we'll ever see Michael Schumacher in the Formula 1 grid? Stick with me to find out. It's been a decade since Michael Schumacher got involved in the ghastly accident that almost took his life. And his absence on the Formula 1 grid has left a huge dent that no one else can fill. On 29th of December 2013, the former Formula 1 driver, who was 44 at the time, had just recently retired from motorsport when he went skiing with his then 14-year-old son, Mick. The duo had been giving a good time descending the Côte d'Azur in the French Alps when catastrophe struck. In an unsecured area of the mountain, Schumacher fell and hit his head on a rock. This resulted in a head injury so severe that he had to be airlifted to the hospital. The doctors revealed that if he had not worn a helmet, he would have died immediately. The F1 legend was put into a medically induced coma due to the impact of the brain injury. About a few months later, he started showing signs of consciousness and he was gradually withdrawn from the coma. Then, in September 2014, he was discharged from the hospital and taken back to his home to recuperate. Nobody besides his really close family knew what his exact condition was, and everyone hoped for the best, until it was revealed that he suffered memory problems, couldn't speak, was paralysed, and in a wheelchair. That was such devastating news for Formula 1, but everyone kept hoping that the man who against all odds won 7 Drivers' Championship titles would get back to his former self. However, to date, it seems that his health condition has barely improved. The German driver was such an inspiration to all. His skills and zeal got him ahead of his contemporaries, and many of the drivers currently on the grid were inspired by him. The McLaren driver Lando Norris recently mentioned how excited he felt when he constantly saw the great legend while karting in 2012/2013, just shortly before the accident. In 2013 Mick was my competitor, and Michael was always there. Every weekend he went, Michael was always there. And I guess when you're like 12 years old, I think seeing someone like Michael was pretty insane. Norris also mentioned a moment when Michael Schumacher got into an argument with another teenager while trying to protect his son. To Norris, it was a wholesome experience seeing the legend acting like any other father. I remember him having a scrap with one of my teammates. Michael having a go at one of my teammates. He was like 13 at the time or 14 at the time, and getting into quite an argument, which was great to watch. This clearly shows that besides being amazing on the grid, he was a great father to his son. Imagine how tough it must be for the Junior Schumacher to not have his father guiding him through his path in F1. The Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff also gave tribute to the 7 world champion, mentioning how great he was. The team's relationship with Michael was probably one of the reasons Mick was accepted to serve as a reserve driver on the team. No one will ever be greater than Schumi. Michael has shaped a generation like no other. He is iconic. Since it was announced that he was paralysed, there have been hardly any details on the German legend until earlier this year, when a German news outlet revealed that he got an exclusive interview. Many fans were shocked by the news, but we're so glad to hear new information about the motorsport star. The German newspaper called Die Aktuelle confidently plastered Schumacher's face on the cover of their magazine, and the interview seemed very genuine. According to the piece, Schumacher said these exact words to describe how he's been faring so far. "My life has completely changed since the accident. That was a horrible time for my wife, my children, and the whole family. I was so badly injured that I lay for months in a kind of artificial coma, because otherwise my body couldn't have dealt with it all. I've had a tough time, but the hospital team has managed to bring me back to my family." The interview was completely BS. There was no way on earth that the first time Michael Schumacher would grant an interview after being silent for a whole decade, it would be to a local German gossip magazine. Besides that, we would most likely have been informed about the improvement on his health by his close friends and family before he would grant a personal interview. Shortly after the piece was released, it was discovered that the magazine had released false information. Michael Schumacher had not granted anyone an interview, and the whole response was AI generated. It's so unfair that the magazine pulled that kind of trick just to get views. But now they are getting what they deserve, as they're currently battling legal issues as well as a worldwide criticism from Schumacher's fans. It would take a while for them to get out of the mess they got themselves into. The action of the magazine must have hurt Schumacher's family, as it was a painful reminder that Schumacher might never be able to speak or grant an interview ever again. Since his accident, many news agencies have respected the family's privacy by not trying to push too hard to find out details of the condition of the icon. Even if they did not, there was no way they could get any information unless being told, because Schumacher's wife, Karina, has fiercely guarded her husband's privacy by sharing only details to very close friends and family. The only time she shared a glimpse of what they were going through was when she granted an interview for the Netflix documentary about her husband, released in 2021. "I miss Michael every day, but it's not just me who misses him. It's the children, the family, his father, everyone around him. Everybody misses Michael, but Michael is here, different, but here. He still shows me how strong he is every day." It's so sad that this is now their reality, and just like Karina said, things are particularly hard for Mick. Mick Schumacher made his debut with Haas team in 2021 after winning the 2020 Formula 2 championship. Everyone expected him to perform so well, being the son of Schumacher and doing so well in Formula 2. In fact, Mattia Binotto, who was with Ferrari at the time, said there was a high chance he would join the team in 2023. However, his performance was way below par. He kept struggling with the car, and by the end of the 2022 season, his contract was not renewed by Haas. When it was clear that he wasn't going to get a seat with any other team, he signed a contract with Mercedes to serve as the reserve driver. Probably, things would have been different if his father was around to guide him. Former F1 driver Johnny Herbert mentioned how sad it was for Mick to not have his dad around. "We have lost a megastar of our sport, who gave so much enjoyment to a lot of people. It was very sad that Mick couldn't have his dad around, and it is sad that we as an F1 community don't have him around the paddock. It's a shame." Mick himself once revealed how heartbroken he was about his dad's health condition, and reminisced about the relationship they could have had. "I think Dad and me, we would understand each other in a different way now, simply because we speak a similar language, the language of motorsport, and that we would have so much more to talk about. That's where my head is most of the time, thinking that it would be cool, that would be. I would give up everything just for that." How heartbreaking. But it gets worse. Recently, a friend of the family, Roger Benoit, recently shattered the last glimmer of hope fans could have had about Schumacher's recovery. Roger, the prominent Swiss F1 journalist, was often seen smoking cigars with Schumacher after races then. So, they were really close, and that made him in a good position to give an insight into the health condition of the icon. When he was asked if he thought Schumacher was better than before, he said, "No. There is only one answer to this question, and that is what his son Mick gave in one of his rare interviews in 2022. I would give anything to talk to Dad." This sentence says everything about how his father has been doing for over 3,500 days. A case without hope. The last sentence, a case without hope, carries a lot of weight. It indicates that the Schumacher we all know and love might never return, but instead, we are just left with a shadow of what he used to be. It's so heartbreaking and devastating. Nonetheless, he would forever be loved, and his name's forever written in the gold in the history of Formula 1. And if we're lucky, we'll get to see the old Schumi again. What do you think about all that has been discussed? Kindly share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.